I'd say that the first of it was a sense of, and this sounds painful, and it is, there is a sense of role destruction.
Yeah. Like panic.
Panic and feeling something, and a part of you that you use for safety to dissolve.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part. It's hard to let go of the false identity because it's a sense of safety. That being a monk is a sense of safety. Being an actor is a sense of safety. Being whatever is a sense of safety. And unless you're willing to go, I'm letting that safety go, to some degree, it's very hard to say, okay, well, I'm open to what this is. So that was the first part. It was like letting go of that identity externally, in my language, in my intellectual thoughts about who I was, in how I thought people perceived me. And then the next step was saying, rather than who am I, was who do I want to be? So what I realized was we're trying to figure out who we are rather than create who we are.
Yeah.
And we do this as humans. We go into finding and seeking rather than creating and being. And finding and seeking is the never-ending journey because there's nothing to look for. There is only things to be and create. Yeah. And so I realized that everything I was currently being and creating was based on values I'd adopted from family, friends, or society. So I literally made a list of what are my current values. I then asked myself, where do they come from? And so it was like my parents, some kid in school who bullied me,
Sure.
my teacher who told me I wasn't this or that, a friend who thought I was cool or uncool based on whatever. And then I asked myself, do I still have that value? Do I still want to live that value? Mm-hmm. And so I shifted to creating a new list of values and principles that I wanted to live by. And I just started practicing them with everyone I met. And that's how I started to create and be my new identity rather than subscribing to an old one, if that makes sense. That's a very quick version.
No, it makes perfect sense because recently I've been having those thoughts to myself as like, who have I really, if I were to explain myself, describe myself in a couple words, there are characteristics that I use that I don't actually like. I don't like being a negative person, but I think I would describe myself, I used to describe myself as a negative person, as a pessimist, as a full realist, not entirely hopeful kind of person. And recently was thinking, well, I don't like that. I don't actually, if I had the choice, I would choose to not be that person. I don't want to be a negative person. I don't want to be a pessimist, but it's safety.
Yes.
It's not getting my hopes up. It's protecting my heart. It's shelter. And how do you part ways with something that you have identified with for so long? And that's obviously a challenge in itself, but it's something that I'm very much trying to do, even with my food choices, like someone who has enjoyed really food that's really terrible for you your whole life, and now making the conscious effort to change that and fuel my body and treat my body in a better, healthier way. It's all just making these conscious decisions of, I'm just fully in autopilot right now, just choosing the same thing because that's what I've always done. Oh, I'm just being pessimistic because that's what I've always done. And it takes pausing and reflecting and making an active effort to shift that behavior. And that's so hard.
It's so hard. We're simply living patterns.
Yeah.
Right? That's literally as simple as it is. It's like we've adopted a pattern. And now we have to choose to practice a new pattern based on who we want to be. And that's why I think the journey of who am I is really who do I want to be? Who do I want to create? Who do I want to live as? Because we've never known who we are. So trying to figure out who we are is a fool's errand because you just keep getting stuck. And then like you just said, now you accept, I'm a negative person because that's who I've always been. Not realizing it's just a pattern you developed. It's just a habit you adopted. It's just what you absorbed through your environment as opposed to selected it.
That's truly, I mean, it's such a profound thing that's just like settling into my brain now is even the last couple of days been thinking, I need to find out who I am. I need to find it. I need to search for it rather than I will never get anywhere if I do that. It's a matter of who do I want to be, and then actively doing that.
Yeah, and selecting those values, selecting those principles, selecting the habits like you just gave for your food. It's like if you just said, who am I? I'd be like, yeah, I'm someone who loves chocolate. Like I'm someone who loves ice cream. I'm someone who loves junk food, fast food. But that's not who I am. That's just a pattern I built, and I can change that pattern. Yes, it's hard. I'm with you on that. Like it's been, when I met my wife, she's the one who transformed my diet, because I was always someone who is focused on mastering the mind, and I kind of neglected the body and kind of didn't care. And my wife is a nutritionist and dietitian and Ayurvedic chef, and so her whole world is food.
Quite convenient.
Very convenient, hugely convenient. If you want to change your life,
wow.
Yeah. And it was like, she got me off refined sugar. She got me off the wrong oil. She got me off like packaged and processed foods on a daily basis. And it was so much education and so much coaching that I received from her that allowed me to make transitions where the first thing I said to her was like, I don't know how I would live without sugar.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it sounds ridiculous now, but it's like, yeah, when we got married 6 years ago, and I was like, yeah, I don't know what you want me to do. And then we started looking for alternatives. And now if you ask me, I pretty much would eat, like, I guess refined sugar maybe like once a month.
Oh,
and so
that's amazing.
And that's amazing for me. Like that's a big thing for me.
Wow.
Because I didn't know. I grew up eating 4 chocolate products a day. My mom gave me a chocolate biscuit, a chocolate bar, a chocolate yogurt, and a chocolate ice cream every day.
Right.
And I was addicted to sugar.
Yep.
And so it's pattern formation though. And yes, you're so right. It requires discipline. It's painful. It's hard. But I love that that's dropped for you. Like, and I love that you took us there today, because I think too many people are finding and looking and seeking and searching, and it's being and creating and building and forming, which is where our energy needs to go, because you've seen yourself build a career. You've seen yourself create your roles. You've seen yourself create a book. You've seen yourself create a show. Like, you created those things. You didn't find them.
Very true.
You didn't search for them. You didn't seek them.
Yeah.
So you know you have creative energy and creative power.
Yeah. Like, damn, got to create myself now.
Yeah.
How exciting.
It is very exciting. And then there's a sense of selection and control, and not control in a control freak way, but in a sense of like,
I can choose.
Yes.
Yeah. I can make the choice. And my first step was definitely the epiphany of, oh, wait, I actually don't want to keep identifying with this.
Yeah.